Welcome to Meeple, uniting players from around the world. A 30-minute exploration of PJ and Gareth's board game experiences from across both sides of the Atlantic. Each week, they will share with you their thoughts and opinions on everything from their favorite board games, themes, hot topics, and much, much more. Thank you for listening in. Hey guys, this is PJ.
And this is Gareth.
And you are listening to episode 22, Hung by the Chimney with Care, our stocking stuffer recommendations for your friends and family this Christmas. Gareth.
Merry Christmas to you.
Happy Christmas, Gareth. How are you?
I'm doing very well.
Yeah.
Can't believe we've got 2 weeks to go.
Tell me about
it's
it.
a big
right?
day. I think it's 2 weeks today. Is it?
It is. It is 2 weeks today.
Today being Sunday, that is. Depends on when the listener's listening to the show.
That is a very fair point. We are currently in we're the beginning of the third week of Advent on the liturgical calendar, and thus 2 weeks until Christmas.
I have 4 days of work, and then I have 2 weeks off, which I'm going to fill with gaming, celebrations, and a 12-hour epic first play of Twilight Imperium. But that is not what we're talking about today.
No, it is not.
We're talking about small, stocking-sized games to play with, as you say, friends and family.
Have you finished your Christmas shopping?
No, haven't started.
You have not started.
No.
Okay.
That's a lie. I've bought one thing. But next Friday, I have day off, my first day off of holidays, and that's when I shall go to town.
Yeah. I happen to know for a fact you bought one thing.
Do you?
Mm-hmm.
That is worrying.
Because it's under my Christmas tree.
Oh, you mean your Christmas gift? Yeah. Yeah, you wait till open it and then you can decide otherwise.
Right?
That is the joy of international, of having obviously online shopping. I can just order things from the country you are in.
Absolutely.
Saves a lot of money.
We have finished all of our holiday shopping. We have a few gifts that we still need to put out in the mail. And like I told you, yours is on the way. Unfortunately, she didn't give me tracking, so
I can't wait. Can't wait to find out what it is. Christmas Day opening, that would be. We'll do maybe we'll do a live 15-minute podcast on our Christmas Day excitement.
We could definitely do that.
However, I guess we better talk about stocking fillers because that's what we came to talk about.
So let's talk about stocking stuffers, right? Smaller items that you can fit into a stocking. Y'all do in England. You do stocking stuffers, right?
We call it stocking fillers.
Fillers, okay.
Stocking fillers. Small items. Yep. Now, I think some of the things we're talking about today probably are slightly more expensive,
maybe,
than a stocking filler, but they are all small. I don't think we're going to spend long on each game. We're just going to rattle off options and things that we play at Christmas that end up in stockings. And somebody at work recently asked me, what would I recommend? So I've taken that list and I brought it with me today.
So at work, we're doing like a Secret Santa.
Secret Santa.
They call it the Advent Angels, which, yep. So, and so a lot of the things we're looking at are kind of stockings fillers, or at least in size. You know, you don't want to go too big, both in price and in size of gift. And I think that's kind of I think the size more than the price is the governing rule for this episode, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Definitely. So I was looking down my list and I've just noticed that there were 3 from the same publisher. So I thought I might just kill those off in one go.
Well, let's do it. Lay it on.
So I was looking at 3 games from Wink Games, which are nice palm-sized games in a small box. So one of those is Deep Sea Adventure, which I recommend to a lot of people, which is a lovely push your luck. People on a submarine looking to gather treasure, roll the dice, move into the water. And every round, of course, the more you carry, the more oxygen you use. And if you don't get back to the submarine, it's all over. 3 rounds later, somebody's got the most treasure, winner.
There you go.
Beautiful game. Alongside that is 9 Tiles Panic, which is a fantastic game for all the family. You literally have 9 tiles and you draw some cards. It gives you an objective. And then those is a timer and you have to basically configure your 9 tiles. They're 3x3 grid grid to meet as many of the objectives as possible. But of course, there's a bit of a race because you need to do it before anybody else. And of course, if you make an error, then you are not included, which is like roads can't connect to certain things. It's fantastic. Absolutely brilliant as a stuffing filler.
That sounds fun.
Have you played it? Have you played that one?
No, that's a new one to me.
Nine Tiles Panic. It's brilliant.
Nine Tiles Panic.
Okay. The artwork is fantastic. And the final one is Scout, which was what did it win? Did it Kinderspiel?
Yes, yeah.
One of I think it was nominated to one of them. Right. I can't think now off my head. But theme wise, loose. You are in a circus, but really, it's a very clever trick taking hand management where the cards are all numbered. They come out in the order, but you can't move them around. You've got to position them. I won't talk too much about the mechanics, but all of those three are by the same publisher, and they all come in small boxes, and they are perfect for a stocking.
That is cool. You know, the thing about Scout, we got to play it at Gen Con, is you kind of glossed over it. You said it though, is that you cannot move the cards. So in normal trick taking games, right, you can organize the cards
1, 2, 3, 4 pairs, trips,
but you can't do that.
And the cards are different either side.
Yes.
So, or top to bottom. So the only manipulation you have is when you first start playing, you can flip your hand to bring the other numbers up.
It's a seriously good game in a really small box.
Yeah, seriously good game.
Yeah. So
I remember first playing it, I thought, I don't get this game. And then it clicked. And now we play it is a filler. It's 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Sometimes it does carry on a little bit longer if we've got some more AP prone players in our midst. But it's a fantastic game. So they're the first three off my list.
Excellent.
What have you got on yours?
So let's do another grouping. Talk about another. I think we'll talk more about a publisher than an actual game, and that's Gamelin. Gamelin Games.
Lots of choice here.
There's a lot of choice. So I think for us, we chose the Ultra Tiny Epic games, right? Of which there's Ultra Tiny Epic Kingdoms, Ultra Tiny Epic Galaxies.
Galaxies. I mean, Galaxies is brilliant. Yeah. Fantastic.
Kingdoms is really excellent. We picked that up. We do not have the Tiny Epic, but we have the Ultra Tiny Epic version. So, those are great stocking stuffers. A lot of game that takes a lot of table presence in a really small box.
How many times we've gone out and grabbed one of those when we've been traveling?
Yep.
Because they end up in the bag.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of game, like you say, for a small box. And I guess even the Tiny Epic games, which is slightly more expensive, but they would fit in a largest stocking.
A Tiny Epic game would definitely fit in a stocking. Certainly so. Absolutely. So they're ideal. They are ideal games.
What's your favorite out? I mean, there's 10 to 15, isn't there now?
So
which one would you recommend? Because I mean, they're not for everybody.
No, they're not, and they're not all equal. They're not all equal. So there's a tie. Tiny Epic Galaxies.
Oof, that's my number one.
That's our number one. But you know what's right behind it is Tiny Epic Dinosaurs. Those both hit the table. The thing is if you want to play Dinosaur Island or Dinosaur World, but it's the holidays, you want to introduce it to your family, Tiny Epic Dinosaurs, you can get that, put it in the stocking, gift it to a family member, and then they can get that experience on a smaller scale. And what I love about the Tiny Epic games is they have a table presence, but they fit in a small box.
Yeah.
So, trying to could you imagine a Tiny Epic Twilight Imperium?
You need a Tiny Epic box for that one.
If anyone can do it, it's Gamelin. And
yeah.
So I think Gamelin is a good. Since we started with Oink and Gamelin games, they're really just perfect.
Nice.
So anything by Gamelin, I would recommend. Absolutely. Go for the Galaxies, but if you're not into space, go for the dinosaurs. If you're not into dinosaurs, go for the dungeons. That's a good
dungeons. Yeah,
dungeons is really good. So I mean, there's a lot of Gamelin to play. So
good recommendations. I got two more.
Lay it on me.
So these are from the same publisher, but I can't remember what the publisher is, so we will have to look that up. So there's a game, and also the boxes often come in German, but this is Cheating Moth and Cockroach Poker. Have you played either of those?
No, but I saw them on your list, and I was like, I can't wait for him to tell me about these.
So Cheating Moth is literally a game about cheating. So deck of cards, there's some mosquitoes, there's some moths, there are some flies, there is a guard, and there are some other things I've forgotten. But basically, one player is the guard, and basically the cards numbered, I think it's 1 to 5, and you play consecutively. So you play a 2, I play a 3, you play a 2, I play a 3, then a 4, then a 5, and the 5 can wrap back to a 1. If it's a playing card, I can't watch animals on it, that's fine. But sometimes there's a mosquito and you've got to slap the table, and last player receives a punishment. Sometimes there's cards like a spider that hands out cards, I think. So it's the first player to lose all their cards as a winner. The job of the guard is to spot people cheating. Now, the moths are not allowed to be played. The only way that you can win is by having no cards in your hand. The last card must be played on a table, but all other cards can be freely lost. Up sleeves, scratch your back, drop onto a table. The guard's job is to spot anyone breaking the rules. You can only drop one card at a time. You can't drop more than one. You can't drop multiple cards in one go. It is a riot. Adults and children alike. The kids have been around and their friends have been here. They can't believe they're allowed to cheat in a game. If the guard bug spots another player, they call it. That person then becomes the guard bug. And while you're the guard bug, you can't obviously cheat. You're not allowed to because you are the guard. So that is Cheating Moth. Highly recommend it. Cockroach Poacher, again, Cockroach Poker. Similar, loads of different insects. You're trying to pass off cards, and you might say, "I've got a rat," and you decide whether I'm telling the truth or not. And if I'm telling the truth, then obviously you keep the card. You're basically bluffing by moving cards around the table. Again, very quick. These are probably 10-minute games. Artwork's really nice. There's another one called something salad, which I can't now life for me, which we haven't got. But they're in a series of games. But if I had to choose one, I would go with Cockroach Poker. I would go with Cheating Moth.
Cheating Moth.
Moth.
I want one. I want a copy.
Yeah,
I
find it.
So
it's a group game. Obviously, you need 4 or 5 players.
Well, that sounds fun, especially with the family.
Perfect.
So. Yeah, so if anybody's thinking of Secret Santa to me, hey.
Cheating Moth and Cockroach Poker. Moth,
that's great. So I want to visit, if we can for a moment, these are not by the same publisher, but these are, the next 2 games I want to talk about are 2-player games, exclusives. Because there's room for that, right?
Ooh.
Yeah.
It's behind you.
Oh, yes. Jaipur is
brilliant.
It's such a good 2-player game.
Good. I played that recently.
Did you?
Yes.
So that game's amazing, and we've been playing that for years. We have an older version. They've just recently reprinted it and modernized the art, but it's amazing and still fits in a stocking. And the reason I chose this and the next game is for their size, right? Because there's a lot of 2-player games that are small. Those Square Mayfair 2-player games are great, but they just won't fit in a stocking. And so I had to not put them in the list. The other one is Land, Air, and Sea.
Another solid choice.
That's amazing. There's a lot of strategy in that game, and it's just 2-player.
But it's just a deck of cards.
It's just a deck of cards. And that's what makes these recommendations that we're laying out for you. It's just that they're cards, so they fit in small boxes that can fill a stocking. So
certainly Jaipur, I have recommended that to lots of people over the years.
Yep.
I taught Mike recently, Noobhaven, if you know him on Instagram.
Oh, yeah.
We met in London. We met at Thirsty Meeples Board Game Cafe to meet up with the Bantham crew. And while we waited, I said, let's play this. And he'd also wanted to try it out. And there we are. It's fantastic.
It is.
Really
it
quick,
is
really quick to teach as well.
really quick and quick to play. So, so that's nice. So, like, if you've got a spouse or a loved one, a partner that you play with, these two games are really good to play and put in a stocking for that partner of yours. So, Jaipur and Land, Air, and Sea.
I've got sticking to a 2-player theme. Fox in the Forest.
Oh yes, yeah.
Fox in the Forest. So again, trick-taking game.
Mm-hmm.
Is it like 30 cards? It's not many. Artwork is lovely, and you're just trying to end up with. It's got trumps as well in the game,
Mm-hmm.
and it's about if you dominate the game and win too many hands, then you lose. So this fine balance of trying not to win too much, but also trying not to win too little.
Yep.
And that's what makes it really fun. And we picked that up when we were last in the US of A.
I remember you telling this story. Yeah, this is
so
great.
That's come all the way over, I think, from Target. There we go.
Yeah. So what do you think about, how about Love Letter?
Oh.
Right?
Yeah.
It comes in a little velvet bag, easy to wrap up and put up. Now, if you want to be thematic, there's a reskin, a Christmas reskin, Letters to Santa.
Is there? I never knew that.
There is. In fact, we have that copy and we bring it to the family. It's the exact same game, except instead of guards, you have elves. Instead of priests, you have snowmen.
I never knew there was a reskin for Christmas. I mean, I've got the Batman one, which I love, but I did not know there was a Christmas version.
Letters to Santa. And again, velvet bag, easily can fit in a stocking. A really great purchase.
Yeah. And that's another game that any gamer, non-gamer, that game is always in my work bag.
Yep.
And if we're ever stuck at stations or airports, it's one that, ends up being played while waiting for a coffee.
And my next one on my list is a great follow-up to Love Letter or Letters to Santa, is The Mind.
Ooh.
How about that as a good cooperative? But you can't talk. So it's like the games we've been describing are they're kind of loud, they're kind of fun and animated. In The Mind, you must sync up mentally. And it's 100 cards? Numbered
It's
100
cards, and all you got to do is count.
You have to play them in ascending order without verbally or non-verbally communicating with your teammates.
It's all about finding that rhythm.
That's all it is. That's all it is. I think I told you that I finally won that game. We have since not won that game for every play afterwards.
Yeah, I think we've won it once.
It is
not many times.
It is definitely a challenge, but it's a great one for the family if you're getting together for Christmas.
Isn't there an extreme version with 2 decks? I've not played it.
It's my understanding, because I've not played it. I think you have one deck that's 1 to 50, and you play them in ascending order, and then there's another deck that's like 50 to 1 or 100 to 51,
right?
And you play them in descending.
You play them down. Oh, okay, yeah.
So so you're managing 2 hands and 2 decks. That is a little extreme.
Yeah, I find the Mind hard enough. I've got a couple of roll and writes.
Hey, I love it.
Next,
tell me all about
or flip and writes. Actually, I first one's a flip. So there's a game called Second Chance.
Okay,
so Rosenberg flip and write. Again, small box, set of cards, some pads. I think it's like a 10 by 10 grid. All you got to do is fill up your grids first without obviously leaving any space. At some point, you will run out of space. A shape will come up. You draw it on. Another shape comes up. You always get a choice of 2. Draw it on. Sometimes they're 1 by 1. Sometimes they're complicated. And the first time that your shape doesn't fit, you get a second chance. You flip another card. If it fits, you carry on. If it doesn't, you're out.
That's lovely.
Beautiful. Absolutely. Check it out as Second Chance. I highly recommend that one. And the other one I've got here is Patchwork Doodle, which is
of course
the flip and right version of Patchwork. Similar. This time though, obviously using coloured pencils, making patterns, make it look a patchwork quilt. Very pretty with coloured pens or fine liners. And in a similar vein, you're trying to make shapes fit. I think you have to score your largest rectangle or largest square. Can't quite remember. But both of those as flip and rights are worthy of a stocking.
Wow, that's nice. Like, yeah, because you got to have flipping rights too. And family members who haven't played games, who aren't as avid, they're all familiar with Yahtzee, which is a roll and right. So when you frame it, hey, well, this is a roll and right or flip and right, then they're comfortable, and I think it opens them up to be willing to play a game like that, and that's nice. Yeah,
it's like Yahtzee. Usually, generally gets people to understand what I'm talking about. Roll some dice and go ahead. What have you got next?
So this is by Weird Giraffe Games. Kind of they hold a special place in my heart because if anyone paid attention back in September when we were celebrating Board Game Review UK's birthday month, my day, we were doing a board game face-off, and I chose Big Easy Busking, which is by
That's right,
which is New Orleans, where I'm from, and that was they just came out with a game called Gift of Tulips.
Oh yes, I've not played that, but I hear good things.
We
Tell me more.
Picked it up at Gen Con. I talked about it in our live from Gen Con. Talked about it again in a previous episode briefly. It's a delightful game. It's 2 to 6 players, so it can accommodate a family. So you have these beautiful flower tulips. There's 4 different colors. There's a market, and the market is volatile. And you score more points by giving tulips away to your neighbors. And there's like a festival, so you can manipulate the market. You basically you draw one card and play it, and then you draw a second card and you play it. But whatever you do on the first, you cannot repeat that. So when you draw a card, you can either give it to someone, you can keep it in front of you as a bouquet, or you can put it in the festival, which is like the market. And when you do that, it changes the value of the cards and so forth and so on. And the cards that are in first place that are worth the most at the end of the game, you actually get more points now by gifting them to others.
Nice.
Yeah, it's really lovely. It's a lovely game, and it accommodates up to 6, so that's pretty fantastic. So that is Gift of Tulips by Weird Giraffe Games.
What about kites? Now, you talked about kites to me when on the back of Gen Con, I think, and then I had the pleasure of playing it last week.
It's good, isn't it?
At Jenny's Instagram meetup in sort of on the edge of London. I thought that was fantastic. I can't remember the size of the box. Would that count? I think it's relatively small.
It's not on my list because I think it's just a little too big.
Is it?
Just a hair.
I can't remember. I just remember seeing it's generally some cards and some timers.
I mean, it's 6 sand timers and then a deck of
basically, if you've got an adult Santa with a big stocking, then add kites, because that's also a wonderful game.
It is. It's great. Recommend it. It's cooperative. So it's great for the family if you want to, bring the family together and not be as, you're still loud. It's still a lot of fun. There's a lot going on. But if you're trying to be more cooperative and bring the family together to avoid, holiday unpleasantries, which happen in every family, this is a great one to bring it together. So that's a good recommendation. I didn't even think about adding it.
Just popped in there when we talked about Gen Con.
Yeah.
Colours and flowers, and I thought kites as well.
Yeah.
On my list also is, obviously, there's not just games you've got to put in a stocking.
Yes.
There's a whole world of accessories.
Whole world.
Now, generally people love dice. So particularly if they're a role player, D&D, whatever genre they're into. So you can always buy people a pack of dice.
You can.
No one's going to complain if they're into their RPGs. Of course, we had a whole episode on accessories, and in that we did talk about obviously meeples and custom meeples. Anything you'd recommend?
Yeah.
Wingspan birds?
Yes. In fact, that specifically, Meeple Source.
Meeple Source. They do ship to UK.
They do. Meeple Source upgrades are fantastic. The birds for Wingspan are just amazing. But they've got upgraded meeples and components for so many different games. They really are good. Now, I will tell you another source for stocking stuffers that I've used in the past. But in fact, both my wife and I would do this for each other in the same Christmas, but not the same item. And that's Board Game Geek store The
again, I wish they'd ship Europe. In the UK, we have one called Board Game Extras.
Okay.
That has got meeples, but yeah, some of the upgrades on the Board Game Geek store are awesome.
My wife got me the upgraded Geek Up. I think Geek Up bits that's for Newton and for Twilight Struggle, and they fit nicely because they come in little plastic bags and it's a plastic chips and whatever, and they fit in the stocking. Now my wife loves Orleans. That is one of her favorite games.
Those upgrades are nice.
The plastic disc upgrades for all of the characters and people that you put in your bag for the bag building.
Yeah,
I ordered that for her, put it in her stocking one year. Some of the Terraforming Mars promo cards. Just
I mean, there's loads of promo options, promo cards.
Many. And they're usually inexpensive. They can be, I mean, they can be $10 or $12, but most of them are $3, $5. So they're really relatively inexpensive. It's a great way to enhance a game. If you've got a gamer in your family and they've got a lot of games and you don't know what all they have, but right, you have a cousin or a sister who, they've got Terraforming Mars, you've played it with them, but you don't know everything else. Well, you could get a promo for that game. I believe,
or upgrade your resources.
I think I saw there was a list you shared with me from Facebook about the pink train cars for Ticket to Ride.
Oh yeah.
I picked that up for my wife because she loves to play pink. As you know, she said that yesterday. She likes pink, so I picked up the pink train cars for Ticket to Ride.
Yeah, that's all right. Yeah, train cars. I guess there's resources.
Absolutely.
I think we've talked about before. Resources. There are dice trays.
Yes,
small dice trays, custom dice trays.
Mm-hmm.
I think a dice tower might be a little bit too big for the stocking, unless I've got a very big foot. I try and think of books. What about books?
But it's hard to fit a book in a stocking.
Yeah, I didn't come up with any. I just wrote down books ?
I mean, I have a board game book collection. There was one on Kickstarter just a few years ago.
Right.
I wish I could see them. I can see that they're on the shelf, but I can't read them from here. I should have wrote them down.
I've got a couple of those puzzle like escape room books.
Yep.
I think Board and Dice did a couple. I can remember what they're called.
Oh.
And then saying that, of course, there's the exit games. They're also, I mean, there's many, many choices now for the exit, which is an escape room in a box, which is great again at Christmas time. We generally go for the 2s and 3s out of 5 with the family. 4s and 5s seem to push sometimes with when everybody's around. But the exit games are well worth checking out.
Oh yeah, you know who else is good is Sir Meeple.
T-shirts as well. You could roll up a T-shirt.
You could.
And Obsession pins.
Yes, the lapel
We've
pins.
got it in. Oh. We've got Obsession mentioned, even in a Christmas stocking filler.
You are welcome, Gareth.
No, it's very, very well lined up. Thank you for that.
Absolutely.
Any other games?
Dice bags.
Bags.
We're talking about dice and dice
bags.
Bags, yeah. So we were in St. Louis just the other day. We stopped in at Miniature Market, as we always do, and they had like on a table, it was like leather accessories, right? So it was like dice trays that snapped into place, but they had these beautiful leather dice bags. They were really beautiful. I didn't have anyone to purchase them for, but I did notice them. I was like, man, these are great. I don't obsess over dice, but if I did, I would want one of these beautiful.
Yeah, you want a nice dice bag.
Absolutely. Yep.
Well, that's my list done. And we're at the half-hour mark. I would love to know other people's recommendations for Christmas gifts. Have you got any others you want to reel off?
I have one last cooperative game, and that's The Crew. The Crew.
Oh, how could we forget?
Right?
The Crew.
The Crew. Trick-taking, and it's cooperative, which is contrary, right? Because usually in trick-taking, it's competitive, but in this case, it's cooperative. And families love trick-taking games, a la canasta, spades, hearts, bourrée, those euchre. So here it's a cooperative game, and amazing. And The Crew would fit. So let's squeeze that one in at the end.
I think we just got I think 18 games we've just rattled our way through. Might have been 17.
18 games and at least 10 accessories or upgrades. So
I'd love to hear whether anyone purchased any of those recommendations. If you've played any of them, if you know any other stocking fillers that I would like to have in my stocking.
Absolutely, yeah.
Or my Secret Santa.
That's right. Yep. So share them with us. We want to hear about all of your recommendations for stocking stuffers, something that we've forgotten. Because our list is not, while comprehensive, it is not complete.
Cannot wait to play these games over Christmas. And with that, we shall wish you a Merry Christmas.
Yes.
Thanks for listening. And we will speak to you next time.
Happy Christmas to everyone and to you as well, Gareth.
And to you. Thanks everyone for listening. Please subscribe, and we love to hear your thoughts and ideas, so please leave those in the comments. And you can also chat with us both via Instagram at Meeple to Meeple. Thanks!